Janet Toth just hopped in as well. I want to thank everyone for joining today. I'm really excited to have Tony share with us about the virtual pop-up shops, ways to create opportunities for retail and fundraising. I know even with the announcement yesterday that there's a lot kind of up in the air, especially with Pullman specifically, but I'm really excited for these opportunities that College Hill is created and presenting about today. I do want to thank the Southeastern Washington Economic Development Association for helping to sponsor today's webinar, and then also the Washington State, Small Business Development Association, SBDC, I'm sorry, I never remember what that one fully is. But then also the Pullman Chamber has helped promote today's event along with the city, and so we want to thank them for all the ways that they do help support in our community. I'm always thankful for just how awesome Pullman is in general, but then also the general community at large. Like we have people for our company that are national that attend and work through stuff, and we're just always so grateful to have such a positive atmosphere around everything that we're doing. And so I'll hand it over to Tony, who I'm excited to hear what's going on.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for joining today's webinar on virtual pop-ups. If you're joining us today, you're likely interested in creating or improving an existing online presence for your brand. We're going to talk about some of the platforms and things to consider in establishing an e-commerce business. This will hopefully answer your questions on where to begin and the factors to consider along the way. And then later we'll touch in on College Hill and how we can help you create a pop-up presence for your brand if you don't have the means to launch your own. And then at the end, we'll go over a few case studies and then open it up for Q&A. There is a question and answer chat. You're more than welcome to put questions in there that we can answer at the end. So this is just a little bit of the agenda today. First, I'm going to talk about myself and College Hill. College Hill is a branded studio merchandise studio with offices in Seattle and Pullman. We were started in Pullman in 2011 above a local watering hole called the Coug in my apartment. And in that first year, we were able to reach 7 figures in revenue working out of an apartment above a bar. And we grew very quickly from there. We started out doing collegiate merchandise, working with university groups, and then we're able to acquire a bunch of other licenses for other schools aside from Washington State. And as our customer base graduated into the working world, we started to do a lot more corporate, working with big pizza chains and manufacturers and tech companies, everything from custom uniforming to client gifts and promotional products. And now I would say our business is a little bit heavier on the corporate side than the collegiate. We're probably about 60% corporate, 40% collegiate. And that COVID has changed that a lot. And so we've had to pivot quite a bit over the last almost 5 months now almost. So a little bit about me. I graduated from Washington State in 2007. I stayed an extra year and got a second degree. And then I hopped in a van with 6 other guys and toured the country in a rock band for a year. And that's really how I got into merchandising. I was working the merch booth at the shows and bought my first press and was doing some printing for some bands. I met a gentleman over in Seattle and we decided to start a merchandise company. In 2011, I just always knew that my heart was in Pullman, so I moved back and moved above the Coug and started College Hill. And within 5 years, we were named one of the fastest growing private companies in America. And we continue to grow because we embrace the power of e-commerce and selling online. So let's take a look at how to develop an online retail presence. We're going to review e-commerce platforms and the considerations and tips for driving your online sales. E-commerce is really just the act of buying or selling something on the web. If you shop online, you can sell online, you know how it works. Honestly, some websites, it's easier to build a website to sell online than it is to check out on some people's websites because they make it way more difficult than they should. So the benefits of e-commerce, obviously reaching new customers. If you don't have a storefront or if your business is primarily local, you can reach a national audience very, very quickly. There are a lot of brands that are working out of bedrooms that are national brands, like College Hill was in the beginning. You can keep in touch and sell in times where your storefront may be closed. COVID right now is a prime example of being able to keep your virtual doors open. Or if your customers relocate, they can continue to purchase from you from wherever they may relocate to. And then remaining accessible. Not everybody likes to go into stores to shop, and you can learn to operate from anywhere. You know, when I started College Hill, my goal was to be able to run this company from anywhere in the world. So I've been able to travel to over 30 countries now. I think we're at 29 or 30, and run my business anywhere with an internet connection. So some of the more popular e-commerce platforms, Shopify and Squarespace are two of the biggest. I've had experience with Shopify, Big Cartel, and Square, as well as WordPress, actually. These are the biggest ones. There's a lot more out there. I suggest doing a lot of research and finding one that fits you. With all of these options, how do you know which is the right fit? You know, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. There are some things to look for. Creative control, does it have a theme that you like? How easy is it to edit? Can you move your existing website over? You know, Shopify or Squarespace, they offer themes, which most of them are pretty aesthetically pleasing. They're pre-built templates, so you don't need to have anything but basic computer skills and patience. You can choose from these themes to find one that fits your brand. And you know, you don't have to be super particular because themes are pretty easy to switch up. For us, we probably go through a new branding every 2 years, I would say. In the beginning, it was every 2 months, just as we were kind of developing our brand. Let's see. Inventory tracking, every one of them has different capabilities, but you know, poke around, do the free trials. All of those right now, Shopify especially, usually they would do a 2-week free trial. Now they're doing 3-month free trial for people that want to start selling on the web due to COVID. It's really important to look at the costs and the monthly fees. There's different tiers for each one of them. What seems like the cheapest option might not be, considering there might be, you know, a $19.99 per month monthly cost for a certain tier, but there's a 50-cent transaction fee. So depending on your product costs, like there's sometimes hidden costs like that, or they charge you for not using their payment processing, which is something that we run into when we were using Shopify in the beginning, and we had the unlimited plan because we had so many different products. But what we didn't realize was they were actually nickel and diming us for, you know, a couple % per transaction because we weren't using their credit card processing, which when you're doing hundreds of thousands a month in sales, it adds up quite a bit. Additional considerations, you know, make sure that the payment solution that you guys have, whether it's Square is a good example, they have their own, Shopify does now too, but make sure it integrates with the e-commerce platform that you guys are considering, that there's app integrations that are going to help you. You know, some of those, you guys are probably asking like what app integrations are. Social media is obviously a big one. Things like abandoned cart recovery are very important if you're selling retail. We have about a 25% abandoned cart recovery conversion rate, which is really, really good. Does it have marketing tools? You know, Square has its own marketing. Shopify does as well, but I really like Square's. They just released a birthday feature. So when your customers go in and purchase something, and you can get their email, if they can opt into marketing, you can send them an email that says, you know, give us your birthday, and then automatically on their birthday, they get a coupon that you can set up, which will help convert more sales. And we just set that up, and I thought that was the coolest, easiest, hands-free marketing that we've ever done. And we've had people utilize it already. So here's kind of the steps to launching your virtual shop. Step one, obviously you need to create a URL if you don't have a web presence. Just be mindful about what your business name is. When you're coming up with a business name, make sure that the URL and the social media handles are available. So there's an example there. If your business is called Jan's Jams, and jansjams.com is taken, you can consider something like Jams Shop, but also look into all the social media handles that you want to match it, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but I think that's the new big one for people right now. And then select which platform that you want. I'm a big fan of Shopify, but it might not work for you. It also depends on what you're selling. We do a lot of pre-orders. So Shopify is great for that. We do a lot of group ordering. But if you're doing just strict retail, again, this is personal preference, but I really do like Square. I think it's easy. And if you have brick and mortar location, I do like their point of sale system. So you can actually manage your inventory in both places with one login. So after you have your URL and you've figured out which platform you're going to use, obviously sign up. I would do the free trial first. Then create your graphics and your collateral. Make sure that you don't have to hire a designer, but if you don't have a theme that matches your brand really well, you can hire a designer. And then obviously take your photos of your products and models if you're doing apparel and stuff. A lot of it you can do yourself with an iPhone or a digital camera. There's so many filters these days, depending on what you're using, whether it's Visco or something like that. But there are also a lot of freelance photographers out there that want experience. We're very lucky to live in a university town with 2 great universities within 10 miles. A lot of photography students, a lot of design students that just want experience or will come do photographs with us. Same thing with models. They'll come model for us in exchange for $100 gift card to our store or something like that. So it's really nice to have access to those students. And then after that, organize your inventory and establish your pricing, create your listings. We sell everything that we sell in our store, we actually sell online. I know that's not the case for every product. If you're selling candles, you can probably do that. But if you're selling air compressors, it might not be that easy to sell everything online, because of shipping and stuff, but I'm sure you could do it. So once you organize your inventory and start listing everything, the most important thing is do some test sales. I can't stress this enough. Have your mom, have your dad, have your grandma, have your boyfriend and girlfriend all buy stuff just to make sure things function well. I actually do that, kind of a secret shopper every once in a while for our own stores. I'll go in and just buy something and see what the experience is like, see how it shows up in the packaging. If there's a customer service issue, I'll email them and expect our team to respond to me just the same as they would any other customer. But doing the test sales is very, very important. Seeing what the turnaround times are, obviously figuring out what's the best shipping. For years we shipped priority, and it's just really embarrassing. We were shipping thousands and thousands of packages, and I realized that we just never really learned the difference between priority and first class, and we were doing so many things under £1. We probably spent tens of thousands of dollars in unneeded shipping costs because we were using a priority envelope and shipping at priority, which is about a $7.50 cost versus about a $4 cost. So I didn't learn that until 4 or 5 years in, and that's just because something I didn't know to check. I thought, the post office gives us free priority envelopes, we should use those ones. And I was like, I'm saving some money on buying these envelopes. But yeah, just do these test sales, ship it. Packaging is extremely important for e-commerce. Everything we send out is in a custom box with a handwritten card. When it's depending on what it is, we'll use tissue paper because people want that retail experience. When you buy from Nordstrom, it's an experience opening that up and getting that silver box and that white tissue paper. And, that's kind of what we try to be because we're a clothing brand. But depending on what you're selling, you don't want to show up, sometimes you buy stuff from Amazon and it shows up and, the box is all messed up and instead of a bubble wrap, it's like shredded newspaper. I actually had one that was just shredded cardboard and I opened up and it just fell everywhere and I had to clean up my office. But, you'll find all that out through your test sales before you go public. It's really important. So once you've done the test sales and you're comfortable with the process, you launch and you spread the word. Make sure everything's firing all cylinders. And Then you start to begin to use those marketing tools that are available, whether it's Shopify, Squarespace, Square. Develop your email list, create your social media handles. That comes after perfecting the store and the product. So it's built. Now what? Establishing your social media presence is extremely important in today's world. I'm not a marketing guru, but sorry, hopefully you can't see all these pop-ups coming. But we do invest a lot into our social media presence. Selling to colleges and students, it's very important to be on the right platforms. And not every platform is going to make sense for you. Twitter is really big for our retail brand. We have a fan store at Washington State University, and anytime we post to Twitter, we'll see an uptick in sales. It doesn't necessarily work that way for Facebook. It's better for us if we're doing group sales, or if there's a group event or a golf tournament, we can post some things in those, and that's where we'll generate sales there. And then Instagram is great for retail depending on the product. But, I look to Instagram for all my fly fishing gear. I'm really big into overlanding and building my Forerunner to go out in the woods. So I look at Instagram, other profiles to see what I want to buy for that. So it just depends on what you're selling. We have a combination of all of them, but for us, I think Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest is a big one too for our custom apparel line. A lot of sororities look to Pinterest for bid day ideas and homecoming ideas and stuff. But social media presence is extremely important in e-commerce. I don't have an exact number. I could look it up in our marketing platform, but I would say 10 to 15% of our revenue is directly driven from social media. All right. So create a sense of urgency for your buyers. This is really, really important with so many options out there. I always tell our sales team the confused buyer says no. So when you're when you're starting out, I would suggest limiting your products and options to a few, and then creating that sense of urgency by offering limited edition incentives like free gifts or flash sales. In the month of July, we're giving a free cinch pack with every purchase over $40 or something like that, which gives people, it kind of gives them an incentive to buy now instead of buy tomorrow. And giving them that sense of urgency, if they're, like I said, if you're a candle company and they're looking at your vanilla scented candle and they have it in their cart, but then they take a trip to Walmart to buy soap and they walk by a vanilla scented candle, then they might buy that one and then come back and forget about yours. But if they have this sense of urgency, like, oh, it's limited edition, or this vanilla scented candle is only available in July, or buy in July and get a free sticker or something, it's going to push them over the edge to buy it right now instead of potentially have one of your competitors swoop in there and sell. And then, like I said, keeping it simple. The confused buyer says no. So having a very carefully curated selection that's super easy to browse right off the bat is extremely important. I keep coming back to candle company. I have no idea why. I've never started a candle company, but if you're a candle company, it would probably not make sense to have, phone cases or something like that. So maybe if you have a dedicated following, that might be a product that you want to offer. But when you're starting out, keep it simple to the products that you know, and be really good at that. For us, the first year we sold only t-shirts and sweatshirts, and now we can decorate any product under the sun. We've sold stainless steel pizza cutters and, phone cases, water bottles, pop sockets, chargers, but we got really good at one thing and then we moved on to the next thing. And right now it's PPE, having to change gears. A lot of our factories that we work with have stopped sewing t-shirts and started sewing masks. And really that's what's keeping our doors open right now. But we wouldn't have done that right in the beginning, started to sell masks. So we didn't know anything about masks, and we didn't want our customers to come in and say, I came here to buy a WSU t-shirt, but there's a mask there. Which one do I buy? The confused buyer says no, they're gonna take a time out because they don't know what to buy, and then they might actually go to fanatics.com or something and buy a different shirt because you confused them. Taking pre-orders. This is huge right now in this day and age. Before I was a huge advocate of something like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, those types of campaigns that help you drive revenue without any risk, and then creating the product. You can do that with a lot of these e-commerce platforms. If you have a product idea, maybe a candle, you can take pre-orders for it, and just make sure that you're letting people know that it's a pre-order. Communicate with them a lot throughout the process, because the last thing you want is for them to challenge the charge on their card and have to do a bunch of refunds because you didn't ship by July 5th and you guaranteed that. This is a great way to start selling without any risk, with little to no risk. We do this for a lot of our clients that want to do a group order for an event or fundraising, which I'll talk about in a little bit. It's a great way for them to raise some money without having to hold any inventory. So a little bit about College Hill and how we can help. Right now we're doing a lot of virtual pop-ups. I guess the difference between an e-commerce platform and a virtual pop-up is it's exactly that. A virtual pop-up is a pop-up. It's a short time frame. It creates that sense of urgency for your customers or your fans or your group. Maybe it's a family reunion that you're going to. You're all meeting up in Lake Chelan for a family reunion. This is a great way to do a virtual pop-up for a Smith family reunion. Send it out to the family. They all buy their stuff. We could either ship it to them at home to bring to the reunion, or ship it to the reunion and everybody grabs it when they get there. But there's that sense of urgency, that sense of limited edition. We do this for everybody from breweries and wineries to family reunions or coffee shops or whatever it may be. But yeah, this is our bread and butter right now. This is what we're doing every single day. And I'm going to go through it and show you some case studies. Let's see. Sorry, hopefully you guys can't see all of this. So the customer experience is just like online shopping with these virtual pop-ups. It's your brand. We can brand them to your brand. We can put a big banner at the top that explains what you're raising money for or what this virtual pop-up is about. But they go in and have a first impression just like they would in a brick and mortar store. Look at the products. It'll have sizing charts. It'll show it on a model, whether it's a t-shirt or headphones or something like that. But it's just like having a real life shopping experience, just online. So what we do, we'll design the products. Like I said, it can be apparel or it can be headphones. We'll select exactly what you want. We're working with a tech company right now that wants to reward some of their staff for a great summer in sales or whatever it may be, and they wanted to give them $50 each to spend on gear. So we came up with some polos, some golf hats, some headphones, some backpacks, and sent them to the manager this $50 code that everybody can go in and buy their product that they want, and then it gets delivered to them at home. It's kind of a cool way to reward your employees. But we choose our merchandise, we launch the pop-up, and then we start selling. We send updates along the way. And then once the store closed down or the virtual pop-up closes, we'll ship the products. Like I said, we can ship them directly to the clients or the fans or the staff, or we can ship them to somebody to hand out. So these are the case studies I was talking about. See how I'm doing on time here. So the Coug, it's, if you guys look at this image, this top right window was my bedroom and also the first office for College Hill Custom Threads. We did 7 figures in sales from above this bar, which is really cool. They're still great friends of ours, great partners with us. But obviously when COVID hit, it was not, you're not going to put 100 people in this tiny building to drink beer. So their staff, they had to figure out ways to raise money to pay their staff. And there was an awesome t-shirt that one of their designers had designed, and they wanted to sell it online as a limited edition t-shirt. So we posted that, and within a week, we sold $9,000 in these shirts, which was great to help mitigate some of their payroll. And we were just really proud of that. We actually still continue to sell that shirt. It's one of our best sellers, but the bar is not in the business of t-shirts. They just saw this was a way for them to connect with their customers and raise some money because they weren't able to sell beer at that time. Another bar that we work with called Flat Stick Pub. They have locations in Eastern Washington, Western Washington, and California. But they were going to do a fundraiser. They did some merchandise called Flat Stick Cares, where they donate a pizza and a beer to a healthcare provider or first responder. But all of their pubs ended up closing down due to COVID. So the fundraiser went virtual. And we wanted to create a sense of urgency. So we actually just did a weekend sale. We did a flash sale for them, built them their store. And in 3 days, over $6,000 was raised, which was pretty incredible. And they actually did something really cool with these shirts that they sent them out to everybody, or we sent them out to everybody who bought them. And when they open back up for in-person dining and mini golf, you get a discount if you wear their shirt in. So it was kind of a good way to create some customer loyalty too. And then finally, this is the last one I'll talk about. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is one of our very best customers. They do some great incentive gifts for their donors, but instead of sending their donors, a challenge coin or a plaque or something like that, which are all great things, they said, hey, we want to incentivize them and allow them to pick what they want. So depending on how much their donors donated, they were given a code to go to a store that we built for the LLS and purchase, a backpack or a cinch bag or a water bottle or whatever with that code. So it didn't cost the donor anything, but then College Hill would produce and manufacture everything and then ship it all out. So it was a great way to reward some donors. And that's, every day we're building these for different nonprofits. So there's a lot of different ways to sell online. Like I said, it's not a one size fit all mentality. Some people do have their ongoing e-commerce platform, but still do virtual pop-ups every once in a while for limited edition, something that they're doing, maybe an event or something like that. But those are just what we do. I'd be happy to answer any questions and provide any insight to anything. Did any questions come through on there? And this is my contact information.
So. Yeah, no, there's some good ones that came through. One of them was, what do you think is the best way to drive people to your website? Is that social or buying ads? And how do you feel about email marketing?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. We don't actually do really much paid advertising on social media. Most of it's organic. We did in the beginning. I think Facebook was a little bit more popular when we first started out for selling online. But as we grew, email marketing is huge. In whatever e-commerce platform you choose, make sure that there's a marketing tool for email marketing and that people automatically opt in to email marketing. So when you check out on our website, whether it's our retail website or our group ordering website, you're automatically checked to opt into email marketing. You have to uncheck that box. So over the years, we have developed a list of hundreds of thousands of emails. And that's, we have one for college, we have one for sorority, we have one for sports fans, we have one for healthcare. And depending on what products we're launching, we can target those. So email marketing, I would say, is our number one revenue driver, but social media is probably a close number two.
Thank you so much for saying that. I tell my clients that all the time and no one believes me.
It's true. I mean, you have to be targeting the right people with the right things though. And it's very interesting, what people will open and what they won't. There's a lot of studies into what time of day to send the email, what day to send the email, what day of the week. And, being very careful about when things are going on in the world, you have to be sensitive to those as well. So early on in the pandemic, we didn't release a statement. We just kind of sat back and knew that every other business, everybody's worried about their jobs. I'm not going to send them an email to buy t-shirts from us at this point,
Right.
We waited a little while and then I sent an email about, how we're responding to it, what our supply chain looks like and all of that. And I waited until every other person under the sun sent a letter from the CEO. I'm sure you guys all got tons of those in your emails, but then I sent it out and that was actually the most opened email we ever had at College Hill, which I found very interesting. But we got a lot of responses to that email just saying, we wish you guys the best. Thanks for the update. And we didn't just blast that to everybody. We blasted that to our core customers just to let them know that we're still here to help. We've shifted to selling a lot of PPE and masks and hand sanitizers and, branded things like that. But we're still here to help. So email marketing, I would say, is number one, but it does depend on the business.
For sure. And then Aziz asked, how does a small business partner with College Hill to expand your brand recognition? Is there a way for consumers to become your brand ambassadors?
Yeah, we do have a brand ambassador program, but the easiest way to engage with us is just go to our website. There's a get started button and fill that out, and somebody will be in touch with you within 24 hours.
Yeah. And is there a pretty easy way to measure that return on investment in working with you guys on that?
Yeah, well, I guess there is no investment on a business's part to do a virtual pop-up with us. So it's risk-free. And, you know, we've done them for bars and restaurants and nonprofits and even a coffee shop that had a pretty strong following in Moscow sold like 160 shirts. So that's where we make our money, is obviously the production of the shirts. But there's no risk for the business. We put the link up and we set a price. And let's say the shirts are $25 retail. You sell them to your customers and fans and friends and family. Then we actually we would have charged, let's say, $12 for the shirt. The $13 difference from the retail to our wholesale cost is cut in the form of a check to the coffee shop at that point. So 160 shirts at $13, you know, a couple $1,000. And now you have a walking billboard out there for you.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. And then someone asked if you can do a webinar on sourcing products and in relation to the supply chain. That might be a little bit outside the scope, but is that something you'd be interested in the future, or is that?
Yeah, you know, I probably wouldn't be the expert to talk about that. We do source a lot of products, you know, thousands of products a day, but I'm not the expert of that. I have a team for that, and maybe somebody from my team would be interested in talking about that.
Okay. Yeah. I'll probably follow up in an email afterwards, because I'd be curious. So supply chaining to me is just a fascinating logistics and companies and international, like it is amazing. And so then there's another question for what is the typical cost of engaging with College Hill? We kind of already answered that, but is there another way to ask that question is like, if someone did just a straight order with you, like what's kind of that minimum pricing or like minimum engagement that's there?
Yeah, it depends on the product. There are products that we can source that have one piece minimums, but usually it's 12 piece minimums for decorated apparel. If you're going to a less expensive product like a pen or, you know, something like that, or water bottle, the minimums are going to be much higher, between 250, 500, you know, so.
Okay. And then, so do you have the Q&As up on your screen?
I have the chat. Let me find the Q&As.
So the bottom one.
Free shipping. So for our bulk orders, College Hill does offer free shipping, because our bulk orders are generally, our average order size is well over $1,000. So the shipping cost is minimal for us. I would say if you're considering free shipping, really look into what that does to your margin. You know, if you're selling a $15 t-shirt, I probably wouldn't offer free shipping, because your shipping, depending on where it's going, is going to be between $3 and $7. So right there, you're cutting your margin 20% to 50%.
Yeah.
But if you're selling $1,000 or more at once and it's one box, the shipping's $20. So that's 2%. That might be a little bit more acceptable. I would just say, look at what the free shipping does to your margins.
Okay. And then there's a question about shipping plugin. That's really platform dependent.
It is platform dependent. We use ShipStation. I really like ShipStation. But there's, just like e-commerce platforms, there's a lot of options out there. I think my team likes ShipStation the best, but.
That being said, so another way to ask that question is like, who do you ship from the most? Like, do you have a set where you can ship from USPS, UPS, and FedEx, or do you pick and choose?
Well, there's a lot of things to consider, you know, the weight, the size, where it's shipping to. Generally, you know, if it's one t-shirt, USPS first class is the easiest. But if you're shipping 200 t-shirts, UPS ground, or if you're shipping to Alaska, UPS ground is obviously not the best bet. We've shipped something UPS ground to the port in Seattle, put it on a barge, and then UPS ground from Juneau or wherever it gets to again. So it just really depends. With what we do, there's not a one size fits all shipping method. But if you're shipping t-shirts or candles or whatever, you'll probably find one that you ship 99.9% of the time. It just depends. And leverage the volume that you're doing with all three of those: UPS, FedEx, and USPS, DHL, On Track, all of them. If you commit to one more than the other, you can certainly leverage the volume that you're doing. And there's good programs and discounts in place based off of rolling averages and how much you're shipping.
And is that just a call to a regional manager person in those companies, or what does that look like?
Yep. Well, I mean, in order to ship, you have to set up your shipping account, and generally they won't assign you a rep right off the bat. But once they start to see you're shipping quite a bit, somebody will call you. No question about it. Yeah. But you can always just email them and say, hey, I'm starting a business. I plan on shipping, a candle that weighs 2 pounds in a 4x4. Can you help me out? Figure out the best way. I'm looking to compare UPS versus USPS versus FedEx, and they'll give you the rates, and they want you to ship, so they're going to give you as much help as you need.
Okay.
Yeah. Packaging is something else to look into. I mean, custom packaging for us is another, it's an extension of our brand. We have these bright teal boxes, and when they show up at somebody's doorstep, they know, oh, our shirts are here, or our products here. So that is a very inexpensive way. You have to buy packaging anyway, so might as well buy packaging that streams your brand.
Well, and do you offer that as a service to people as well if they need custom packaging?
We don't, no.
Okay.
Yeah. We do kitting, so we can kit something like in a cinch pack. Let's say you wanted to do a water bottle, pair of sunglasses, and a pen and give it out to all the students at XYZ Elementary, we can kit something for you and put it in the bag. But custom boxes are not something we sell.
Oh, I love kitting. That's really good.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of that right now for work from home. People aren't able to do events or go to events or virtual trade shows or virtual conferences. So we'll send the water bottle and even the lanyard. It's kind of fun. Like normally you go to a conference, you get a lanyard with your name tag on it. We can kit that and put it in a nice box and send that to people so they have it when they're doing their virtual conferences.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And then Aziz asked another really good question. If you might have to scroll down that list.
Yeah, so the question is, do you see branded merchandise as a cost center, meaning neutral profits, but helps the small business for branding and marketing? I would say, if you're selling it, it depends. It depends on what you're trying to do with it, but anything out there with your logo on it is great branding. There are certain products that I would push my customers to more than others. There are statistics that show, like a hat or a pen or something like that is the best branding. The amount of impressions and the cost per impression on a hat is like tenfold versus a print ad in a newspaper or a magazine. It's incredible because people like caps if they're wearing them on the golf course or whatever. Same thing with pens, especially in today's day and age. People don't want to touch a dirty pen. So when you're at a bank and they give you a brand new pen that's wrapped in cellophane, you feel a little bit more comfortable using that pen and you're going to carry it around. And if it's a quality pen, you're going to keep it. Just looking at my desk, I have everything from a custom pint glass that I was drinking water out of to a coaster to multiple pens, a journal, branded chargers, branded, I got my webcam cover. I got everything in here. These are products that people use and they see every single day. So like my webcam cover is a great example. It's a very inexpensive product. It goes on my computer. I can just open it and close it like that for security reasons. But every single day I see College Hill Custom Threads logo on there. And if you were a bank or somebody and you gave that to all of your customers, it's a very, very small cost. But the amount of times they see that every single day, they're going to see that however many thousands of times.
Yeah.
So it's both. I mean, you can, if you're the Coug and you're a bar and you're selling shirts and that kind of has a cult following, people see that shirt and they yell "Go Cougs" from across the airport, right? But it makes people think about their time at that bar back in the 70s or 80s or 90s or whatever. They can sell that shirt for $25 online at a cost of $10. They're making a bigger margin on that shirt than they are beer at their bar.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then what innovative things have you seen your event or tourism-based clients doing to engage clients with these industries on the decline?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Tourism-based clients. Let's see. So, I'm trying to think. I guess locally here in Pullman, the tourism, the Chamber and Visitor Center is in charge of the Lentil Festival. That's, I guess, a tourism-based client. They're doing a virtual pop-up because they can't have a in-person festival this year. So they're offering everything from hats and shirts and mugs and aprons, things that have the Lentil Festival's logo and artwork on it. And, there are people that have been buying a Lentil Festival commemorative shirt for 25 years because the artwork is different every year and it's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they're doing a virtual pop-up and I guarantee you there'll be people that buy those shirts and go to the lentil cook-off virtually and watch the cook-off and wear those shirts because people want, some sense of normalcy right now. And, while they can't be there in Rainy Park and Pullman watching the cook-off or tasting lentils, they can, eat lentils at home and attend the festival virtually and wear their shirts. So I thought that was pretty cool. Events are moving online. I attended a virtual conference 2 months ago and it was cool. There was a virtual waiting room. There was a virtual networking session where you just randomly, I don't know how they rolled the dice, but you had 6 people that you had 5 minutes that you just kind of bounced through. There was different breakout sessions that you could go through. But it was really cool because my packet and all of my swag came to my house, and I had my water bottle for the conference on the desk and I had my lanyard on that had my name tag.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, placement too, like everybody, right now you can see chest up right now. So a lot of people are still doing branded polos with the logo right there, but they're also doing hats and they're doing, water bottles. So they'll have their drinkware right there with their brand on it where people can see while they're talking to people. Things are going to go back to normal. This isn't a permanent thing. But I do think that e-commerce is permanent and these virtual pop-ups will be permanent.
Yeah.
And branded merchandise, it will be permanent. I mean, it's been a growing industry for years. I mean, you're wearing a mask right now. That is the #1 seller that we have right now. We can put your logo on it, whether it's Microsoft or whatever it may be, but that's the first thing people are going to see when they're out in the world. And it's just the same as it's a walking billboard. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see, there's one more. Ooh, can you show us an example of a pop-up or send us a link to one afterwards?
Yeah, I'll send one in an email. There's a few examples, and if you guys want to buy something from it, that's cool too. I'll send you a fundraiser one that's maybe raising some money, or you can look at, we have an example one on our website, I think, that has College Hill merchandise, just kind of a fake one, but I'll send it out in the email to all the attendees.
Okay, awesome. All right, I think that's all the questions. I'll wait just a little bit longer. But I do want to once again thank the Southeastern Washington Economic Development Association for helping us sponsor to put this on, and everyone else that helps to promote these webinars and these events. Next month, we are looking at doing resiliency profiles of small businesses that are shifting, pivoting, and growing through COVID. We know that it has been really difficult, but we did want to have people just share about how they pivoted in this. And I think, Tony, you talked about this wonderfully of, hey, yeah, we sat back a little bit and then we started shifting gears and we started doing some PPE and we started doing these pop-ups. Like, that's exactly the kind of creative, innovative things that all of us need to be really looking at, how to push our businesses in different ways. I think we're always going to hopefully see a lemonade stand to some extent. But in this day and age, it's getting harder and harder to do those types of things and have it get the traffic and the notoriety that small businesses really need. So no, this is perfect. I don't see any other questions coming through. So thank you so much for being here today. And I really, really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Take care.